Hey guys, and welcome back to the Franchise Tag Podcast, Season 3, Episode 12. We are available wherever you happen to get your podcasts. And one last thing to shout out for the last couple weeks of the season. If you would like to compete against us in pick'ems with more knowledge going into the last couple of weeks with who is good and who is bad, go ahead and click that link in the description and join for those last couple weeks and get ready for next season where we do the same exact thing. But we can get things started this week with a Week 15 recap and kicking things off with Thursday night and the return of Kirk Chains.
Kirk changed. Kirk Cousins. I mean, it's the return. It's not like it was his first, you know, game this year where he got snaps and played. Because Michael Penix has been out for a while. But this was the return of the Kirk change. The Kirk Cousins that, kind of left the Vikings when his career was on fire and he was still doing good. And then with his whole injury stuff, kind of never really saw him get back to that Kirk changed moniker. But I think a 3 touchdown game will certainly do that. And I will say, what almost piqued my interest more than seeing a Kirk Cousins return to form, because I've been rooting for Kirk Cousins to do that. I mean, for a good hot minute, and it took its time on me. But Kyle Pitts Sr., man, like
I think Penix hates the guy. That's the only explanation I've got. I think Penix hates him.
I think Penix probably got asked about the do-rag one too many times from Kyle Pitts. And so it's just been on a boycott. But yeah, Kyle Pitts, man, like, I don't remember the particular drive, but I just remember one of the drives I was watching. It was like, just, oh, he's throwing it to Kyle Pitts on the sideline, and oh, look, he did it the exact same spot of the field yet again, and Kyle Pitts is just jumping over these people and catching the balls on their heads. And it's just two people that really haven't. Kyle Pitts, I feel like so much hype. His whole draft process, all of the fantasy hype he's gotten year in, year out, and
Keep
then
drafting him, man.
you just keep drafting the man. And then, Kirk Cousins with the injury and everything that happened since he's left Minnesota. So I think, obviously, Kyle Pitts has not reached the caliber that he was in that rookie year. And I think this is just like a perfect game towards the end of the year that really like ties things up for them both, where they're able to kind of get monkeys off their back. Like Kirk Cousins now has shown a full game, a full flash of, hey, look, I can still do this. And it's not just going to be, what kind of he was delegated of just, I'm going to be the backup to Michael Penix for $250 million. Now it's like he can have a starting role. And, the Falcons made a point that they're not going to trade him, but we'll see what ends up happening as the contract hits those cut windows where, the dead cap is smaller. And then you get into Kyle Pitts himself, who, having a resurgence this year, and just really hoping that they can keep this up and kind of get those monkeys off their back.
It's got to be so. It's got to be so vindicating for him, because I'd imagine he has not lost confidence in himself. He knows he's athletic. He knows he can catch. Yeah. He knows he's big, and I feel like he probably is finally saying to himself, I knew I wasn't bad. I knew this wasn't a me issue. And I'm just hoping that Penix and the coaching staff can continue to get him involved as much as Kirk Cousins tries to, obviously, with Pitts being his favorite target. I hope that they can continue that into next season when Penix returns. And I'm not optimistic for it. I just also we saw Kyle Pitts do well rookie year with Matt Ryan, and then we saw him do poorly since with Desmond Ridder, which not Pitts' fault, and then with Penix as well, where I think Penix is much better than Ridder. I think he's the future in Atlanta, and if they can't utilize Kyle Pitts, Pitts is going to be a monster somewhere else wherever he goes.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to me is the way that Kyle Pitts has been used and he's gotten a good amount of targets kind of all year, like up and down, ebbs and flows, of course, every game. But like with Penix versus without Penix, he's still getting like consistent targets. It's just like the different situations, the way that Kirk has put him in more opportune spots to turn those targets into, you know, kind of a broken tackle and to be able to create after the catch and get more yards out of every single catch. And then, a sideline dot 2 times in a row also helps with that. Like, it's not just the check down. Kyle Pitts isn't the check down. He's the guy you read first. He's the guy you want to see win on this route, and then he does, so then he gives them the ball. And I feel like that's just not the way that Penix utilizes him. Maybe it's just the way the offense shifted when Kirk was the quarterback. But I think, looking at this team, I just like to see the vindication for both of them. The return to form for Kirk, and then also having Kyle Pitts have such a productive night. But I mean, Kirk Cousins is really good in primetime. I feel like he had a real bad knock for primetime for a while, and then since then he's been kind of on fire. So that's the return of Kirko change for you. But we can move on to our Sunday slate of games. We're going to kind of blitz through a lot of it, but I mean, some of them we will definitely elaborate on as we kind of get into our fan favorite teams here. But I'll go ahead and let you kick it off with one of the games from Sunday.
Yeah, the Bengals Ravens. That was just such a odd game because I feel like recently the Bengals have kind of been like showing their strength, and the Ravens have been showing their weakness. And then all of a sudden we get a divisional game, and the Bengals don't put up any points, and what's going on?
Especially when it's like a game like that, like 12 attempts from Lamar Jackson.
You're right. I feel like they didn't have the ball at all. There was no Lamar attempts. There was no Derrick Henry attempts. Like he carried the ball 12 times as well.
11 times, yeah.
11 times. And it's not like there was another. I mean, Keaton Mitchell got his touches, but
the possession on the game was 20 minutes to the Ravens and 39, with some change for the Bengals. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, Bengals had the ball a whole long time for a team that put up no points.
Yeah, that's crazy. 0 points on 40 minutes possession time is nuts.
Yeah, and then Baltimore rushing at a 7.9 yard average clip as a team. Just like, also I will say that this was kind of like, this wasn't one of our highlighted games, but this was one that we looked at like, oh, the Bengals might be looking to play spoiler. They're kind of out of it, but they want to, end the year on good terms because they've got Joe Burrow coming back. He's not going to just want to go and lose. But man, where do you kind of see this going? I mean, we'll get into it later, actually, with one of our segments, so stay tuned. But honestly, yeah, it's just like a rough way for the Bengals to show up against the divisional opponent when, this is meant to be when they're good. Joe Burrow's back. There's no more excuses, and this
their
is
defense,
when they fall flat.
I mean, past few weeks, their defense was even looking okay. Like, not good, but it was looking passable, middle of the pack. Like, and now, obviously, this isn't like the worst defensive performance we've ever seen, but that 8 yards of carry and no, like.
I mean, you sacked Lamar Jackson 4 times, and you hold a Lamar Jackson team that they held them to 24 points, and that was with a pick 6. So the defense did pretty good.
Yeah. And then the offense. This is polar opposite of what we've seen from the Bengals in the past, where it's normally been the offense keeping up in a shootout, but now it's just not. But we can move on to.
Yeah, I'll quick touch on the Chiefs game. So Chiefs eliminated shortly after Mahomes goes and has an ACL tear. So with an ACL tear, Mahomes is going to be out, and it's kind of just been a rough year for Mahomes, for the whole team. Like, I say Mahomes because it feels like he's put up very admirable efforts in every single game to try to win. And in at least like 4 of those games, it's Travis Kelce dropping the ball into a defender's hands. It's things that aren't exactly in Mahomes' control that are going wrong for the team. Whether it be the defense not getting a stop when they need it or Travis making his mistakes. It's been such a high caliber year of play from Patrick Mahomes for the team to be 6-8 and for him to be out for the year with an ACL tear. And so, their playoff hopes died a few plays later when Gardner Minshew threw a pick coming in relief. And yeah, it's just a rough way to see it go out. The end of that dynasty kind of died with a whimper.
I will say something. We'll obviously touch on the Chiefs and their like future later, but something that I've always hated about Mahomes is something that I may pivot my opinion on. Every time he's like in crunch time, it feels like he's hurt. Like it feels like his knee is hurt, and it's always been like
True.
I've always seen it as like it's an excuse. If he loses, it's because he was hurt, and that's always what I've seen it as, and that's always what it's kind of been used as. But at this point, with an ACL tear, with a consistent like limping and weird run, like this may be a bigger issue, and it may be a long-term health issue if he can't keep his legs healthy, because it's not like he's a pocket passer that doesn't need to move.
It's always been an ankle.
Yeah, and
always been something.
It's the joints that you can't lose as a semi-mobile quarterback. It's not like he's fast. He's Patrick, but he does move and he does get out of the pocket. He does improvise, and that's what he built his career on. And if he can't stay healthy, and if this ACL is hurts his future mobility, we may be looking at this as like the injury that ended his career in the future, or that not ended his career, but the injury that like made his career take a downward turn, if of course that happens in the future. But I'm just thinking back on all these different, like, I feel like he's never been hurt before, but he's always had the like little banged up knee, banged up ankle, banged up this, banged up that. And if he's
there's the infamous QB sneak that he dislocated his knee on.
True. Yeah, he did dislocate his kneecap. But I'm just thinking, like, into the future, is this going to be a consistent issue? And if his ACL is torn and repaired and weak, is he still going to be able to go out on these like fourth quarter drives with a banged up knee, or is he going to be ending his career by choosing to do that? If the knee is really banged up when he's going out there on those fourth quarter drives, because up until now I was not convinced he was hurt at all going out there for those drives. He was just, trotting out there like his old grandpa self, and then the announcers were going crazy with it. But
I think to put the lid on that crockpot theory, it was one of the seasons where it was like quarterback, like he had a whole crew following him. He was definitely hurt. I can't remember what year that was, but one of those, I think it was a leg issue, or I know he got concussed one of the games. I just can't remember what injury relates to what year. But whatever year he had the quarterback Netflix documentary crew following him, he was pissed. Like they were like, "No, you have to go to the locker room to go get this X-rayed. We got to go make sure everything's good." And he's like, "No, I'm gonna go play. Can you get out of my way?" And like, he definitely will never like yield on trying to go play through pain. So the toughness factor of him, granted, I get your issue with the broadcast's covering of it, where it's just like, oh, and he's doing this on a bum knee. Hello, here's a guy.
Yeah, he's always doing it on a bum knee then.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I get the gripe there, but it does feel like he is just always playing through something because he is just perpetually in pain.
Right, and that was my realization when he actually tore his ACL. I was like, oh, maybe he's like been playing through injury, and if that's the case, is that bad for his future? Probably, but how bad is it for his future?
Yeah, I think it might be a wake up call from him on how to operate his health wise versus the team needs him to win, etc., etc. But we'll move on to a different game here.
Yeah, I would like to get into that Bills-Patriots game and touch on the similarities between this game and the game we had earlier in the season. I'm not mad with how the results happened and how everything turned out. I'm, obviously displeased whenever the refs have a bigger hand in things than they should. But if you'll recall, when the Bills and Patriots played earlier this year and the Patriots won, I said that the refs had a bigger hand in things than they should have, and that the Patriots benefited from it. Mm-hmm. And so this is just the flip side of that, where it wasn't blatant missed calls. It wasn't like the Saints Rams NFC Championship game. It wasn't that bad, but it was a lot of things that favored the Bills quite a bit, and I just obviously I always hate to see that, but I'm excited to meet the Bills in the playoffs if that is in the cards, because it's not a team I think we are worse than. I think it's a team we're very evenly matched with, and I want to meet in a situation where the refs don't play their hand. Yeah, because it seems like whatever side the refs favor kind of takes the win in a close game. So if there's no favoring, I don't know which team comes out on top. But the Patriots were, up 21-0, and then were not able to really rally after that. When the Bills started to come back, and TreVeyon Henderson had some crazy ass runs and is now leading the betting odds for Offensive Rookie of the Year. Crazy enough. Yeah. He sat half the year, and now he's in the lead.
The backup to someone we didn't want to see him be a backup to.
Yeah, Ramondre.
I guess he needed that time to cook.
Hey, it worked.
Well, and then is that all you had on your?
Yeah, game? I just wanted to, because I had texted our group chat, and I was like, yeah, these are a lot of bullshit calls. And then I thought about it, and I remembered some of the iffy calls in the other game, and I was like, refs getting their get back. Okay, like
the refs were like, we gotta make this even here. Another thing to kind of touch, because I feel like in seasons past of the podcast, we've touched more heavily on scrutinizing referee calls. The Rams game certainly had some of that. The Lions-Rams game had some calls that definitely could have been pretty questionable there. They evened out by the end. It was very heavily favoring the Rams early on in that game, with the way calls were going, what wasn't being called, what was. The Rams had 2 penalties on them for 8 yards. One of those was in the red zone. A DPI was called on, I believe we went for it on 4th down, passed it, and then there was that flag, so we got more life. It was either a 4th or a 3rd. But with that kind of was the evening of the odds, because earlier in the game there was a catch ruled a catch, and it was like, well, was this a catch? And like that was the original discussion from the broadcast, as to, they're going to review whether this was a catch or not. And his knee was down at like the 2-yard line, 1 or 2 yard line, and then it was, the catch stands, touchdown. And then it was like, okay, that was the review. That even though he caught the ball and his knee is very much defined as outside of the, he's outside of the plane of the end zone, he goes ahead and manages to get that touchdown called. So interesting calls there. And then, past couple of weeks for the Lions haven't been great penalty-wise either, with like the refs showing their hand. But I will say this was my expected outcome for the game. Stafford, his MVP caliber year, continues. The one fluky interception to a tight end screen that Hutch just read perfectly and yanked that ball out of the air. Can't really mark that too hard. Like, he just thought he could get it around Hutch, and Hutch was pure rushing him. But this is yet another game where I feel like Jahmyr Gibbs, as good as he is, as much like praise as he's gotten throughout the whole season, he's very much like a boomer bust this season. He will have a game where he rushes for 200 yards, and then he has a game where he can't rush for over 60. And these kind of go back and forth. And you look at the past 3 games for Jahmyr Gibbs, and he hasn't averaged over 4 yards a carry. And it's kind of been like that for him this season, where he's not contributing as much as he used to in the rush game consistently. And so it's become more of a, oh, well, he's going to get 100 yards receiving in this game, and he's going to get, near 70. But this was a game that it was just purely targeted defensive effort to make sure he couldn't get anything going. So, 13 rushes for 38 yards and then 4 catches for 20 yards. He was bottlenecked pretty hard there. And the Lions offense, we have a lot of weapons, but the way we've been able to get the ball rolling every single time we're out on offense is Jahmyr Gibbs. So, they made sure to bottleneck him. It makes the Lions' odds to make playoffs pretty tight. We'll see what ends up shaking out for the rest of the season there. But moving across the NFC North in a term that, not to be insensitive, helps the Lions playoff odds. The Micah Parsons ACL tear that happened, there was a lot of injuries for Green Bay in this game. And this one's like the cherry on top for what the Packers really have built their defense around, was Micah Parsons coming into this year. He's been so productive for them that this might end up making them drop a couple of games that really matter late in the year here. So we'll see how they're fare going up against the Bears this next week. And I don't know. It's difficult to see the team making it far when Micah Parsons has been the guy on that defensive line, just so dominant for them. If they make it into the playoffs like they are slated to currently, to then make it past the first round without Micah Parsons, without their X Factor guy.
Sorry.
Good time to yawn.
Yawning, yeah. Yeah, Micah tearing his ACL is rough. It's always tough to see the better players in the league on teams that could make playoffs that go down. And that's twice this week with Mahomes and with Parsons, but Mahomes happened and he's out of the playoffs. So I think, honestly, again, we'll get into this in a minute, but I think the Mahomes injury is probably better for the Chiefs. As far as it happening and them being eliminated, and they can just go out there and drop the rest of the games and get the best draft pick possible. But last thing we wanted to touch on for the recap is the Phillip Rivers return, the setback of his Hall of Fame candidacy for 5 more years. So now he's going to be 50 when he enters instead of 45. He came back for a loss, and that's kind of unfortunate. But his throwing motion looks a little weird, and I think he's always had that little bit of like weird throwing motion that I've never really liked. But it looked even exponentially weirder coming from a 44-year-old guy who hadn't played in the NFL in 5 years. So the Colts put up a fight. It was like 16-18, right? Last second field goal for the win.
Yeah, there was back and forth I think under 2 minutes left, there was one field goal, and then the Colts drove down the field in like a minute into field goal range, and they put up their own field goal, and then lo and behold, the Seahawks drive yet again down, score their field goal in like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And then, Rivers with like the minimal amount of time has to try to force the ball deep, and that was his pick. There could have been a lot worse.
It could have been. It could have.
It's not like he hit the overs on any of those betting odds. He didn't go crazy, but he went out there, and it looked like he could still read a defense, and he was still putting, passes where they could be. He wasn't going out there and having like a 4-pick game. So
yeah,
we've seen that a lot this season from some certain quarterbacks.
He is better than 9.
And he's going to be sticking with them for the rest of the year, I'm sure, to try to push the playoff hopes for them, and get them into playoffs. And it would be absolutely insane. Colts make playoffs, Phillip Rivers at quarterback, and he gets another shot at playoff football as a freaking ancient man. So, kudos for him for having the resiliency to, even go out there.
Last thing I want to touch on
off the couch
before we move into our segment about Philip Rivers specifically is he is younger than Brady was in Brady's final season. Yeah. So just seeing Philip Rivers, obviously it's because he didn't have the offseason of conditioning and the year of practice and the offseason of practice and the last year playing, and he's been out of the league for 4 years. Obviously that is why he has looked a little bit rusty. But just the difference between seeing how Tom Brady looked that final year in Tampa and how Philip Rivers looked this past week. I don't know what Tom was taking, but it was something.
Tom's all of his money probably went towards his strength and conditioning and all of that crap because the way
Rivers
he
has 10 kids
last year. Yeah, I mean,
it's expensive.
And Tom Brady was a deadbeat. So
hell yeah.
The way Tom Brady looked in his last year was like a guy that could have gone for like 2-3 more years, and I feel like that's probably eating away at him. That he's like now that he's made all these deals, right? He's a broadcaster. He's owner, minority owner. That like now he can't unretire if he chooses to.
Yeah,
he's probably mad seeing Philip Rivers go out there, knowing like I could do that. That should be me.
Yeah,
the Goblin mask is talking.
It's calling to him.
His old Patriots helmet, whatever. I mean, I don't think he. But whatever helmet it is that he has.
The Chiefs helmet is calling to him. He's like, you know what? They're mathematically eliminated. Yeah. I'm coming back and saving them anyways.
Yeah. He'd be like, I want to go sit in that quarterback room. But yeah, there wasn't a Monday Night Football game this week.
Or a Sunday night one, for that matter. Those didn't exist for whatever reason.
It was really weird scheduling thing.
But yeah, let's get into the segment.
Yep.
So, ladies and gentlemen of the podcast, we appreciate you for being here for the full podcast recording. But this is going to be our segment video, so we're going to intro it like a regular video. If you've been here for podcasts before, this sounds familiar. It's because we do it every week. All right. Kicking the segment off in 3, 2, 1. The Kansas City Chiefs are eliminated from playoff contention, as well as 12 other teams. And we're going to talk about some of them here today in our segment discussing the eliminated teams and their futures in the league with certain dynasties, with certain players, with certain cap spaces and draft picks, and see how bright some of these eliminated teams' futures are and how much despair some of their fans should feel.
Yeah, I think I want to go ahead and take the reins here right off the bat. And I want to touch on the New York Jets first and foremost. Detroit Lion coaching alumni Aaron Glenn went ahead and took over the New York Jets, and it was a rough year. Going to continue to be a rough year after they traded away some of their better players and, acquired some of those draft picks that they're going to look to use in this upcoming draft. And for the New York Jets, they're looking at the second most cap space with $118 million right now. And they're also looking at having 4 picks in the top 100 picks, which is the first 3 rounds. That's how many, what is the term? Compensatory? The compensatory picks, that makes a little bit more picks there than having the 32 per. But the first 3 rounds, they're going to have 4 draft picks. And I think that this is really going to be the chance for the New York Jets to kind of revamp the whole everything, make up for the things that they lost, be able to put players in place that are going to better fit Aaron Glenn's scheme. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's a very competitive division they're in. So I'm not going to say that they're going to come out of this, preseason, this off season and be able to have a massive spending budget and turn the team around in 1 year like the New England Patriots did.
We still have a massive spending budget too, which is crazy.
Because you do. Yeah. You kept so much in the bank. Yeah. But the Patriots, they already had their quarterback, and this, from what I've seen, it doesn't look like this is shaping up to be the best year for quarterbacks out of the draft. So the Jets are going to be really having a thin margin for error on getting a good roster together for next season. And I feel like if they don't go quarterback in this draft towards the top of the draft, then they're not really going to have Aaron Glenn around much longer, because without a quarterback that they can confidently hang their hat on, they're not going to be able to make much of a difference. And I'm not super sure there's any. Let me load up free agent quarterbacks. Who would they even manage to pick up? That
I
would be.
think Justin Fields is a free agent.
Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe Tyrod Taylor as well.
It's possible. Maybe Brady Cook.
You know, they could always get Aaron Rodgers. Jokes aside, there's a very slim list of players that are going to be starting caliber that are going to be entering free agency. So outside of like an outlandish trade of someone who's under contract for a long time, Kirk Cousins, we very well might not see the Jets enter the draft with a quarterback, and they would, very much be showing their hand there. But, they're in your division. Do you think the Jets will ever be good? Do you think because we've seen them nail the draft insanely well during that last regime, and they've won nothing from it. So even if they manage to win the draft, win free agency, where do they go from there?
I do think it's a cursed franchise. I think it's, for whatever reason, they can never put things together, even when everything looks right. They traded for Rodgers. They had Aaron Rodgers.
Devontae Adams.
They had Devontae Adams. They had Garrett Wilson. They had Breece Hall. They had a solid enough offensive line. They had a good defense with several good defensive picks, Quinnen Williams and
Sauce Gardner.
Up and down. CJ Mosley, I think, was still there at that point. Like, this is a team that has players and has a squad, and they could not put shit together. And I don't. Eventually, they'll be good, right? Everyone will be good eventually. I'm just not sure it will be in our lifetimes. Maybe it'll be the moon-based Jets when the NFL expands spaceward. And
yeah, the New York space shuttles, and they managed to win a game in zero gravity.
Exactly. Yeah. No,
I think the Super Bowl.
I think that they need to. If Aaron Glenn is the right option, obviously they fired their defensive coordinator, so they're saying it was his fault, even though it probably wasn't. If Aaron Glenn is the answer in New York, if he is going to be their long-term head coach option, he's got to show it soon, because the leash is short on anybody entering New York. Just because of how little success they've had, they need something to be turned around and fast. Mm-hmm. But in an effort not to spend a ton of time on each individual team we have here. Yeah,
and these, we don't have to hit all of them. These are just whatever sticks out to you as the team that you want to talk about.
I'd like to talk Chiefs. I mean, we did earlier, but them getting eliminated, the parallels have been drawn to when Brady tore his ACL and Mahomes tore his ACL, and it was the same season. However, Brady's was in like the first quarter of the first game, and
they are eliminated from playoffs seconds after Mahomes tore his ACL.
Yeah,
like different situations.
The Patriots also made playoffs that year with no Brady, so that was another thing that always gets brought up, is like, how good was Brady really? They made the playoffs with Matt Cassell.
System quarterback.
And guess where Matt Cassell went and started after his Patriots tenure, or before? I don't remember. He was a Chiefs quarterback for a while. Matt Cassell. I've always read Cassell. It just as Castle. I don't know. It doesn't say Castle, so I always read it as Castle too, but I think I heard somebody say Cassell, and I was like, oh, that makes sense too. Tear me apart in the comments for pronunciations, please. Love to see it. But yeah, the Chiefs need to lose out. They need to get a good draft pick, and they need to figure out what the issue is. Because was it not having Rashee Rice for the first 4 games? Was it, is it a defensive problem? Do they need pass rush help? I think they do. But like, is that actually the problem, or is that just one of a myriad of issues that have been pasted over by Mahomes and Travis Kelce, and now that Travis Kelce's not good, it's not able to be painted over as well?
I think
Is it time to have a conversation about Andy Reid? I've seen a lot of Chiefs fans kind of lean in that direction, but
I think the main issue here is that you're entering the offseason with negative $34 million in cap space, which is the second worst in the league. So the opportunity to spend the money to make up for these issues, the possible Kelce retirement, getting the amount of investment they've already put into tackles that don't work is infuriating. The amount of tackles that they've spent money on just for them to not really stay healthy, for them to not perform. That's another crux of the issue is the fixes they've tried haven't worked. So just, I take a lot of issues with the GM. I would point the finger at the GM a lot more times before I point the finger at Andy Reid. But we liken to it at mid-season. Do you need an actual rushing attack that doesn't rely on Mahomes leading your team in rushing yards every other game? There's a lot of things to address.
Maybe they spend their first on Jeremiah Love or something like that. Like maybe that's the option if he's available at the 12th pick.
Yeah,
assuming that's where the Chiefs end up. But I feel like a lot of fans are rooting for that because you want to see a run game so you can take the pressure off of Mahomes in all of these big moments where he's having to be the one running that ends up how it just did this past Sunday. I think now more than ever you do need a rushing attack because Mahomes is going to try to come back for week 1 next year. He's going to. Timeline is he might be able to come back, but he's going to.
And he doesn't care about the timeline.
And you need to take the pressure off of him coming off of an ACL tear. You need to give him a good rushing attack so that he's got a reliable person in the backfield right next to him that can block for him, that can take the load off as far as the yard gains. Because if he's the leading rusher, obviously he's the leading passer. What is he not doing on offense? Like what part of the game is he not leading in? And if you can take some of that pressure off of him, you have to, especially coming off injury. But to get into one of the other teams that I wanted to talk about was the Browns. I want to discuss that situation because not starting Shedeur is a choice. Like that's not a bad, like it's not necessarily a bad thing. Not deciding to start him like at the start of the year, going with Joe Flacco, fine. But picking Dylan Gabriel over Shedeur Sanders is coaching malpractice. Like that's Kevin Stefanski saying Dylan Gabriel was my pick, so he's going to start. Not saying this is the best quarterback for this team, so he's going to start. And as much as Shedeur has, not been the perfect quarterback, he's been a lot fucking better than Dylan Gabriel. Like they. Obviously, this week, not the greatest week. He had 3 picks, 18 to 35. But, Dylan Gabriel, really not good. like considerably worse somehow than even that.
And the opportunities, like the patience they had with Dylan Gabriel before they were like, yeah, we'll go to Shedeur Sanders.
It took injury. It took him getting hurt. It took Shedeur getting forced in and then throwing for 400 yards to be like, maybe there's something here. Like, you think?
Maybe we can use this guy. I think, looking at the Browns and the way that they've been kind of having every other rookie that wasn't a quarterback has been performing out of their damn mind.
Finn and Judkins, yeah.
This is very much like they hit on everything. They're a horrible franchise. This is very much like 2021 Jets draft. Everyone's going to be in contention for, the rookie of the year of their respective side of the ball. Now, the only issue with the Browns is like you're doing all of this, and Deshaun Watson is still on your books.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say, okay, yeah, we have a great rookie class. Let's build on that by adding some people through free agency. They have $8 million to spend in free agency, 26th in the NFL. I don't think they're going to make a big splash with that. I'm not sure what, cap space as of right now, kind of a figment of the imagination. Everyone always manages to pull some out of thin air. They're probably going to end up with like 28 million cap space, and that's enough for like one player, one free agency bidding war player, and then there's your fund gone. So they're going to have to, compound this with more great draft picks, and with the history, I'd hope that they can do that. And then there's actually like success on the horizon for this team. That said, the coaching malpractice being the issue, well, they have the same head coach. Stefanski's been there a while.
Yes, he won Coach of the Year a couple times, but...
And I'm not very confident in him since the whole Baker and getting Deshaun Watson fiasco occurred. So
yeah,
I don't imagine that the Browns organization would stick with him. If they do, then... Yeah, I take back what I said about success being on the horizon. But if they make the correct changes, it's possible.
There's also the issue of the coaching pool this year, and I'm so glad that the Patriots fired Gerard when they did and got Mike Vrabel, because the coaching pool this year, not glamorous. Mm-hmm. It is not good. There's no Ben Johnson, obviously. There's no Mike Vrabel. There's no like tenured name that's didn't have around, a bad year,
had success, but had some weird firing.
Yeah, there's none of that. So it's rough if the Browns want to move on from Stefanski, and I feel like he would go somewhere and be successful if he were to leave the Browns, because I think it is partially organizational. But is there anybody else on this list that you would like to discuss at length?
I think the one more that really stands out to me. I mean, we have the Bengals, but they got a lot of money.
I was going to say, they've got a ton of money. That's crazy.
I'm not so worried about them because they have paid so many of their expensive positions, and they still have this much money. That's enough money that you can build a defense with. So I'm not going to really go deep on that. But the Tennessee Titans, who are currently with an interim head coach, have a thin coaching pool to pick from, as you had stated. Whatever coach they choose is the best for them moving forward is going to have Cam Ward, who, despite all of the situations, is very good. Like, I was, I thought of him as a late first in terms of draft value there, and he's playing above that. So kudos to him for doing what he can, despite the fact that anytime he puts a ball on the money, it's ending up on the dirt because no one can catch on that team. But whatever head coach they do get has 3 picks within the top 100. Whatever, the GM structures wants to go ahead and go get. You got 3 players top 100. Those are pretty good, valuable players. And then you have the most cap space of anyone with 120 million before you, pull 30 million out of the air. And this is a team that with the right coaching, not to say that there is any Ben Johnsons out there, but if you were to get a Ben Johnson in there, this is a team that could very quickly win their division 1 year from now because they had all the right pieces come together at the right time. You signed everybody you wanted to, you got the great head coach, and you got everything you needed. Now, there isn't many of those, but there might be a diamond in the rough that is
They're going to sign Mike McCarthy. I hate to break it to you.
Somehow, though,
Urban Meyer.
That doesn't even sound
Meyer's
wrong.
coming back.
Like the Titans having Mike McCarthy and Mike McCarthy having Cam Ward have some really productive statistical years. That just sounds right up at the alley.
Yeah.
But I really hope this team builds around Cam Ward, and it's not a situation of offensive coach comes in and this isn't my quarterback. Let's make sure I can bench him early on because
they need
drops.
They need to they need to sign a coach that wants to coach Cam Ward, not a coach that wants to coach just a team. They need to sign somebody who wants to work with Cam Ward specifically. And
yeah, I mean, we saw that issue already with that building specifically.
Yeah.
Will Levis had good flashes, and then you have a coach that doesn't really like Will Levis, and now he's already out of the building.
He also had
you set your back.
significantly bad flashes, so like that's a little different, but I get it.
He was a thumbnail about 4 weeks in a row.
he did have his moments, but yeah, I think that they can build around Cam Ward. It's not like they're an organizational malpractice kind of team. They had Derrick Henry for a while. They had success there with him and Ryan Tannehill. It's just hitting on their draft picks, and that's always a shit show. So
we got one more name here that we can briefly mention. It's the Dallas Cowboys. They have the worst cap in the league. They only have 2 picks in the top 100, and that's after you trade away Micah Parsons. You make all these moves at midseason just to not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
If I was a Cowboys fan, I'd be pissed, but I'm not, so I'm just really happy about all of this. Cowboys fans, I'm so sorry.
They're such a weird team because it's not like they're bad. It's not like they're a bad team.
They're never really that bad. They're always competitive.
They're just never good enough, unfortunately. Yeah. Well, fortunately. Man, seeing them host a Lombardi, I wouldn't be able to do it. Shout out Dak. I mean, Dak the guy.
Dak's a nice guy.
But
Dak the human being.
Dak the human being.
Dak the quarterback. I mean, they're pretty intrinsically related as
one is the other.
They are the same person.
Jim, they are the same person.
But with that, we can wrap up the segment over all the teams that we really care about talking about that have already been eliminated. Put your comments down below. If we didn't talk about your team, i.e. like the Dolphins, Vikings, and probably a handful of like Saints, tell us what you think your team should do, because as we get towards the mock draft season, the playoffs and everything mattering a lot less for a lot of fan bases, we do value that information. And let us know on some teams we did talk about, if there's a big player that's going to depart that we missed, or really what you're hoping to see from the teams. Hopefully there's some Jeremiah love down there for the KC, because
for real,
I want to see a functional. You can't run a West Coast offense without a run game.
I don't want to see them fix their running back problems, because that's scary, and I don't like scary.
And you know what? They probably won't. They're probably going to pick a different running back because they picked Clyde Edwards-Helaire
over Jonathan Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah. So
tough decision.
Anyways,
who can say who's the better running back now? I can't.
I don't know.
Brett Veach, you mastermind. Anyways,
that'll close out that. Stay tuned for the podcast, which drops tomorrow at noon Central. And yeah, we will get back to the podcast now, which we'll cut it there. Yeah. Hello, podcast people.
Howdy.
We're back, and guess what? We have another segment. That we're not uploading as a standalone videos.
This is just for you.
We wanted to be really nice to you. Yeah.
Yeah, just for you. Just a segment. Yeah. It's the inverse of what we just did. So if you are here from the segment video and you're catching a second segment, drop a like,
Yeah. What up?
All right. Inverse of our eliminated segment. This is the playoff locks. The teams that are basically guaranteed to make playoffs. Obviously, I don't think there is anybody who has clinched playoffs quite yet.
Rams and Broncos clinched playoffs.
Rams and Broncos clinched. Okay, so there's 2 teams that clinched playoffs, but the Patriots, Jags, Bills, Chargers, and Eagles, Seahawks, and 49ers are all over 95% chance to make the playoffs, or all have over a 95% chance to make the playoffs. And so we will be discussing some of those teams, and again, asking for your input in the comments down below on those that we don't touch on. But starting off in the AFC with the Broncos and Patriots, I think those are kind of the 2 that stick out to me as
like they don't have that many question marks to me.
Well, they have question marks to me about the playoff experience more than fair. Like the actual squads. But if you'd like to discuss the Broncos, I have to sneeze.
Oh, lovely. Nice break for the sneeze there. When it comes to the Broncos, they haven't been, this offensive threat. They've consistently been, over the past few years, a very strong defensive team, and it feels like Bo Nix has had a rhythm. You know, he had a rhythm with his rookie year, but it's almost been dialed up in a way that like now I actually don't hate the offense as much. He's he's actually able to throw the ball downfield. Who would have thought that when you let a quarterback throw the ball past the sticks that he might look better? He might pass the eye test a little easier. Um, so yeah, I mean, Bo Nix has grown on me, but it's more so the fact that the offense has grown away from the things I hated. Um, so there's that. I think he's he's managing the offense well. They have a good rushing game. It's kind of the formula for being one of the top teams. You know, you have to have a good rush game, and you have to be able to have a quarterback that can still make the passes when you need him to. And that's what I've seen out of Bo Nix this year versus, his rookie year where he maybe was being a little bit safer because they didn't have as much time in the pocket, and so there was just a lot more screens being called. But it seems that this year he's already gotten like 4 or 5 fourth quarter comebacks. Like they're managing to win games when they have to rely on Bo Nix, and that's what I like to see from a young quarterback that's kind of been in a system that I didn't particularly love.
Yeah. And it's also it's fuck. My light has fallen. Hold on. Okay, we're good. You good? We're good. Okay.
I'm good.
And cut. It's like you said, it is the formula. It's also the Broncos built their defense and then threw an offense into it. And it's not like it's a stellar world class offense that's carrying this team. It's a stellar world class defense that has an offense that's middle of the pack. Like obviously this past week is not a middle of the pack offensive performance. Bo Nix almost 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, like crazy game from him. But it's more of a like the defense is obviously the strength, and then if the offense has a good game, it's a great game for the team. And if the offense doesn't have a good game, they still have a shot because the defense is so good. And that's kind of how you have to build with the values that are placed on offensive players. It's just cap space wise, you almost need to pay the defensive players because there's more value in them than the offensive players just because of how expensive the offensive players can get.
There's a lot of similarities that could be drawn from, the two teams at the top of the AFC with the Broncos and the Patriots because they're both second-year quarterbacks. They both had perennially good defenses for a long time, even going back decades. And then the current, like, recent history of, like, yeah, they have a pretty solid defense, where everything came together now that there's an offense that is like really firing, like a top half of the league offense, and a little better for the Patriots side of things. But and then you add some rookie running backs in there that are being productive, and it's really starting to like blur the lines on which team's which.
Well, one team doesn't have Bo Nix, and that's the team that's better. So
Yep.
I don't have anything against Bo Nix. I have something against Broncos fans who think that Bo Nix is the best quarterback in that draft class. I think he is at best third best. I don't think you can make a claim that he is a better quarterback than Caleb Williams or Drake May. And
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, if his injuries keep up, is the only reason you would be able to say that Nix is better than him. Because again, there's just nothing that Nix does better than either of those other three. And he was also 25 entering the league. So, I'll hold that.
Do you have anything on the Patriots to note on there?
Strongly?
That you feel like you haven't said throughout the season of broadcast?
Well, probably not. But this past week was kind of a disappointment. We were on that giant win streak. I think we started off 1-2 and then won 10 straight or 11 straight. Yeah. And then dropped one finally to the Bills. It's unfortunate, but it was bound to happen. I am optimistic for the future. Milton Williams should be coming back for playoffs, so as long as we can make it there, we'll have a nice boost to the D-line. Will Campbell, I believe, will also be making it back for playoffs, so that'll be a nice boost to the O-line. And the trenches are where the games are won. So the rest of the season might not look great. The Patriots' defensive ranks, as far as against the run since Milton Williams got hurt, are horrendous. Like bottom of the league. I think like they're 27th and 31st in certain against the run stats since Milton Williams' injury, and before the injury they were like top 10. So it's a big. He's a big body in there that we need to get back, but he'll be back by playoffs. So that's when it really matters.
I think. You have anything else on the Patriots?
I was just going to say, I think that's going to be the boost we need.
Yeah, I think looking at the other teams in the AFC, there's we're out of those top two that really don't have that many question marks outside of like some injuries and then some of those like. Little flubs along the way. The Jaguars are one that it's like
they're nothing but question marks. Like
it's been question marks all year for Jacksonville, in terms of like competing against top teams. Like they haven't really been forced into a lot of situations where they do play top teams. I mean, easy enough division. They played the Colts, but the Colts was like 2 weeks ago when it was kind of already set in stone that the Colts were falling apart. They're coming against the Broncos in this coming week, and that's going to be like the taste of playoff football. And I don't imagine it's going to go that well. They may surprise me because maybe they finally figured out the offensive woes that they had to start the year off. But it really does feel like at the start of the year it was their defense keeping them in these close games, making things competitive for them. And setting up to go 4-1. But since then, it feels like there's just been more question marks. There's been some answers, but the answer then leads to more questions. So the Jaguars are one that it's like, it's hard to feel confident in this team when they are at the top of the conference. Like still at the top of the conference, it's a weak conference, and I just don't have much faith in where they can go from there. And it's almost less so. Like I have more faith in the Chargers, despite the fact that the Chargers have had injury woes, and I feel like more concrete things. Like you have more answers. No, more of what the Chargers are. It's just a better question of like, well, are they going to show up in this game? Because their losses have been to the Giants and the Commanders, and to the Jags. And when they lost to the Jags, it was a big one. They dropped by a lot. And so it's odd to have these teams entering the playoffs that have this many questions. If you're on the bubble, then obviously your season's been pretty up and down and you've had to figure something out. But like
these are playoff teams. Like these teams will be in the playoffs.
It's almost like Steelers like past 3 years that they made playoffs. Like there's always questions going into the playoffs, and then they always fell short. So I can't have much confidence in these teams that I'm having questions about, wondering if they are capable of being legit and making a run, and then expecting them to make it past the wild card round. I just can't.
And the last team in the AFC that we have listed here outside of the Jags and Chargers is the Bills. And that's a team that has had Chiefs woes in the playoffs for the past, since Mahomes has been in the league. And I think it's really remarkable that this will be a season where the Bills don't have to compete with the Chiefs, and I'm still not confident they'll win the Super Bowl. Like this is an enjoy your natty moment from Chiefs to Bills. It's like
nice.
Go win your Super Bowl, and they won't, because there's going to be a game that they drop in the playoffs, or maybe they do have a cakewalk to the Super Bowl. It all depends on how the seeding works out. And, I will say
whether or not they have to play the Patriots is what I wanted to say there.
No, I would be nervous if we had to play the Bills in the playoffs. They have a lot of playoff experience, and we do not with this regime and this roster. But I will say, if Josh Allen and the Bills do win the Super Bowl, I will be glad that it happened, because I feel like he's deserved at least one of the ones over the past however many years that he and Mahomes have been going at it. He deserves to get at least one. And in the history books, it'll be, Mahomes was out of the playoffs, so Josh Allen had his heyday because he didn't have to deal with Mahomes. But I think this Bills team would beat a Chiefs team in the playoffs if they were to make it.
Yeah, even like as far back as like a month ago when the Chiefs' problems really were like getting slim on whether they were going to make the playoffs, I was like, man, all the AFC teams that are like pissed at they always see their opportunities and then they meet the Chiefs in the playoffs. Like all of these teams are like, all right, we gotta get it together right now because
the Ravens got to put their shit together because they're another one that's
yeah,
it's the same deal.
Like, the Ravens, the Texans on a hell of a win streak.
True, yeah.
Looking to be that team too. Just all these teams that always face the Chiefs and are the ones that the Chiefs blow through to make it to the Super Bowl. It's like this is hunting season now. Like without the top dog around, everyone's going to be fighting for it, and it's exciting stuff. Really, not having another rematch Super Bowl like we have the past few years.
Yeah.
And then on the NFC side, I think it's pretty short and sweet. Like the Rams are just one of the best teams in football right now.
I think they win the Super
defensively
Bowl,
great,
most likely.
I mean, yeah, and it's an insane story that the whole F them picks happened, right? And we thought, okay, this is their one go, this is their one regime, their push. They don't have any draft capital to retool after this, and a couple years pass, and they have Brandon Fisk. They have, I think it's Byron Young,
Jared Verse.
Like, you lose Aaron Donald and you expect to step back, but you replace it with like 4 guys that are like half of an Aaron Donald.
Imagine this with Aaron Donald.
Dude, if Aaron Donald unretires, like
that'd
this
be
is
crazy.
the cakewalk Super Bowl.
That'd be nuts.
Like he just decides I want another ring and goes and gets it. Like, and it's very much capable of doing that. Like this is the top defense. This is the top 1 scoring offense. Yeah, and short and sweet. The Rams are NFC Championship bound. The next one on this list, Eagles.
Yay! Okay, let me ask because they're 9-5. They're on this list because the AFC or the NFC East is so dog shit, right?
I believe so. Yeah. Let's see.
NFC
They're
East.
ahead by 3 games with 3 games to go. So yeah.
Okay.
They're a lock with their 9 wins.
Yeah, which is crazy. But
yeah, with 3 weeks to go, you're a lock.
yeah,
this team sucks.
Yeah, they do.
This is like probably the worst the Eagles offense has looked with Hurts at quarterback. I feel like outside of like rookie Hurts. Pretty certain in saying that sentence. Their defense is of course their defense.
It's still not as good though. It's not as dominant.
And I feel like part of that is probably just like, okay, well the offense isn't chugging along like we wish, so our possession time is going down. The amount of drives opposing offenses get against our defense is going up, and so obviously you're going to let up more points per game when there's more opportunities to score.
Okay.
At least
tip for the Eagles.
More direct.
Got an idea how you win in the playoffs. You run the ball. And I don't mean that as just like run the damn ball. I mean you walk out there. No tight ends, no wide receivers. Full 9 offensive linemen, 1 quarterback to snap the ball. You know what? Fuck it. 10 offensive linemen and the running back snaps the ball. I know you've got 10 offensive linemen on the roster. I know you can put a package out there.
A bottom 10 rush offense from a team that has had a good offensive line and has Saquon Barkley in the backfield.
Yeah, put Tank Bigsby back there. Saquon's old. Get him out of there.
You're right.
Put Tank back there. Get him running behind 10 offensive linemen and tell me that doesn't work. How would you defend it? How would you defend that? If it's the Eagles 10 offensive linemen and a running back, it doesn't matter who, it could be Hurts.
I think I could best defend that with the Eagles defensive line.
Well,
better yet, the Rams defensive line.
Yeah, double team all the D linemen and then have one roaming offensive lineman go kill all the DBs.
The Rams don't have 10 defensive linemen and a fast linebacker.
True.
put Landman out there. He's covering that land, and he's gonna go get that man. All right.
All right. All right.
Yeah, Eagles. We're just kind of joking on them right now. They suck. All right. I want them to be a first round exit because they need to really have a wake up call to how much they suck. And if they have playoff success, that is just more excuses for them to, continue what they're doing with Nick Sirianni and not take accountability. Now, here's the interesting part. The rest of the teams on this list of the NFC are all in the NFC West. So the Rams, right? Tip top shape. And
the Seahawks.
They're in
Wow.
a tough ass division because they have to play against Seahawks and the 49ers, the other playoff locked teams as of now. The Seahawks have looked pretty darn steady throughout the year. They've had a little dip down in terms of being able to keep it up as long. The Rams were like, you're entering that same window where you thought the Rams might have that dip down and they did not. So Seahawks are one that I could see going, I don't think the Niners or the Seahawks really spell first round exit to me like half of that bracket did for the AFC. And then you're going to have a divisional round that's going to be mostly NFC West, and whatever teams play each other that aren't NFC West teams. It's a powerhouse division that they've had for a while, sans the Cardinals. And which one of these teams would you be more confident in saying would go further? Like,
talking just Seahawks Niners or including Rams?
Yeah, just Seahawks Niners, because the Eagles were pretty dead and out on, Rams were pretty high on, and so then you got Seahawks Niners. Let's say they both win their wild card matchups, and then they're seeded against each other for the division.
Seahawks for sure.
Seahawks.
Yeah.
The defensive injuries for the Niners and their continued winning after that is so much akin to what the Lions did, and with the Lions, we saw it come back to bite them in the playoffs. So
it's just a matter of the Seahawks defense being so damn good. Like their defense is their strong suit somehow. Like even when Sam Darnold was at his peak, which he's obviously taken a small step back towards the end of the season now. But even when he was at his absolute best earlier this year, their defense was still better than him, which is insane. So. Yeah. I think that if there is one team to beat the Rams, it's the Seahawks, and that'll be a great NFC Championship game.
Yeah, that'll be a hell of a game. Especially, all the stories going into that, but we discussed it earlier on the AFC side of things, and we have a Rams-Seahawks game heading into this week on Prime Thursday Night Football. So, we've already seen them play once, and it was a 2-point loss for the Seahawks. So, possibly an NFC Championship preview, like you had just kind of prophesied. We see it on Thursday Night Football. So, definitely one to watch. And sure. I think with that, we can kind of exit this segment and get into the next games, the Week 16 highlight games, and kind of start making our pick'ems on this. We'll start here. Rams-Seahawks.
I'll take the Rams.
From what I've seen from the Rams, I can't go against them. And, they're both 11-3 teams, so this would make it a little bit tighter of, who's going to win the division. The Seahawks managed to make up for that loss earlier in the year. We'll see. But then we head into the rest of the slate, and, a lot of teams eliminated.
Saturday games this week, by the way.
Yeah, there is. A lot of games don't matter heading into the seeding because of so many teams eliminated. But Packers-Bears as the Saturday night game, that's one that does matter.
It does, indeed.
Matters a good bit for winning the North. And I don't know. The Bears, Ben Johnson, it's at home.
The Packers just win games they're not supposed to and lose games they're supposed to win. There's no rhyme or reason to how the Packers play football. And it makes them so unpredictable. But
they've had so many weeks. All their losses, except for one last week's, come from scoring less than 14 points. Sometimes they just don't get it together. And, Micah Parsons out, a lot of injuries out. I got to go Bears just at the deficit that the Packers are for the rest of the season. Biggest guy is gone.
No Micah, yeah. I'd agree with you there. And then into Sunday, the first game that popped up on my slate was, because I'm a Patriots fan, it highlights the
Yeah, the
Patriots game.
favorited.
So it was Patriots and Ravens, which is the Sunday night game. And oh boy, I'll take the Patriots in that one. But man, is that going to be a rough game with the Ravens' ability to run the ball and the Patriots' inability to stop the run now. It's, Derrick Henry, please be gentle.
Yeah, I. And then same wheelhouse for me. The Lions Steelers. Boy, if we lose to the Steelers, like first off, I think that's a playoff eliminating case. But man, if Aaron Rodgers comes to town and beats us in this, I'd be without words. As I am right now, just thinking
He
about
wants to. He's
the
dying.
possibility.
He's dying for it. He really wants to beat you. Can
Outside
I
of
can
that,
I
I mean, it's
can I
the big
ask you
games.
something?
Yeah, go on.
We're rooting, me and you together collectively, for a Patriots Lions Super Bowl, obviously.
Yes, obviously.
If the Lions do not make playoffs, can you full-time Patriots fan the playoffs? It'll only be for one round, trust.
There's no Chiefs to root for.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you know what? I'm not super in on any of the other AFC teams. So yeah, I probably could.
Yay! Look at me, guys. Patriots fans unite.
Look at him
I am
negotiating.
recruiting new fans. But I think with that we can kind of wrap things
Yeah.
up here. If there's no other games that stuck out to you, is there a Monday night game this week, or does it not exist like this past week?
No. It exists.
Oh, it does. It does exist. Quite.
Philip Rivers 49ers game. It'll be fun.
It will be fun. It will be a fun one. But
And then, the other quote unquote one that matters was Jags Broncos, but we kind of touched on how we feel about both of those teams. So you can guess
trash
where we see
game.
that going. With that,
Alrighty.
deuces.
Deuces.